They sacked me to protect my own sister, unaware that I covertly controlled the entire company they were employed by. 3 individuals orchestrated my dismissal: my sister, my supervisor, and my supposed best friend. They grinned as they stripped me of my employee badge, treating me like garbage to be discarded. I stayed silent, suppressing a smirk, because they had no idea they just fired their true boss. If you've ever been underestimated, betrayed, or ridiculed, this tale will resonate deeply. Like, share, and subscribe, because this revenge story will leave you stunned. 6 months ago, I was just Mike, the IT guy who repaired faulty printers and earned zero respect. Colleagues often overlooked me, even though I was the one keeping the company running. My sister, Ashley, got her job through my connections. I pulled favors, got her on board, and trained her myself. But once she cozied up to the CEO's son, everything shifted. Suddenly, I was excluded from meetings, my emails mysteriously vanished, and projects I launched were reassigned to others. Then came the final strike, a fabricated complaint from Ashley accusing me of mishandling company data. The HR manager, later revealed to be her college buddy, handed me a termination notice with a crocodile tear smile. "Mike, you understand, it's for the company's benefit. It's not personal." Not personal. She was my sister, and she just destroyed everything I'd worked for, or so they believed. While they played their corporate games, I had been building something far greater. 5 years earlier, I launched a discreet venture, a shell company, using my tech expertise to create cybersecurity solutions. That entity quietly began purchasing shares of their company. I kept it all concealed through proxies and aliases, not even Ashley knew. Just a week before my firing, I finalized the deal. My shell company owned 72% of their firm. Yet, I stayed silent, wanting to see who'd betray me first. And she did, right in the back. So, I left that day, appearing defeated, with everyone whispering as I walked out. But I was far from finished. 2 days later, they threw a lavish office party to celebrate new leadership. Ashley strutted in, wearing a $4,000 gown, acting like she ruled the place. My former best friend, Todd, stood by her, sipping champagne, as if he hadn't just betrayed me. They laughed, toasted, and spoke of fresh starts, oblivious to the fact that I'd scheduled a mandatory board meeting for that evening, under my true identity. At exactly 7:01 p.m., every senior executive received a notification. Emergency ownership review. Attendance mandatory. Ashley was baffled. Why is the board calling a meeting without my input? Todd speculated, maybe it's about your promotion to CTO. She smiled, but that smile was about to fade. The boardroom fell silent when I entered. Ashley's jaw dropped. Todd nearly dropped his glass. The CEO, our uncle, squinted and snapped. "Mike, what are you doing here?" I calmly took the head seat and slid a folder to the board's attorney. "These are the ownership papers. Read them aloud." The lawyer, puzzled, flipped through the documents, then his eyes widened. "This can't be correct. These records show Cynic Global, a holding company, now controls the majority of the firm's shares." He looked at me. "And you're listed as the sole owner." The room went quiet. Ashley whispered, "This is a prank, right? He's just an IT worker." I met her gaze and said, "Correction, I was your IT worker. Now, I'm the reason your salary exists." Everyone froze. Board members murmured among themselves. The CEO stood, furious. "You deceived us. You went behind our backs." I leaned forward. "No, I play the game you showed me. You just never imagined the underdog could outsmart you." Ashley's face paled. Todd blinked nervously. The CEO, our uncle, stood like his circuits had shorted. I sat calmly, letting the silence sting. Every moment was a reminder they'd handed power to the person they tried to ruin. One board member, Mr. Clark, cleared his throat. "Mike, are you saying you've been secretly acquiring shares all this time?" I nodded. 5 years of staying quiet while you ridiculed me, ignored me, and pushed me aside. I was buying the company, piece by piece. Ashley slammed the table. "This is absurd. You were a nobody, too spineless to speak in meetings. How could you pull this off?" I looked her in the eye. "Because I didn't waste energy on office politics. While you chased titles, I built an empire. The board's attorney confirmed it. Everything was legal, valid, irreversible." Then I dropped the next bombshell. I'm not just here to own the company. I'm here to make changes. Effective immediately, certain executives are removed for unethical behavior. I slid another folder across the table, containing emails, transactions, and falsified reports, Ashley's name at the top. She grabbed the folder, flipping through it in a panic, and shouted, "You're doing this out of jealousy because I succeeded." "No," I said, standing slowly. "I'm doing this because you betrayed me and because you're a risk to this company." Todd, sweating, jumped in. "Mike, we're buddies. Don't do this." My voice was steady but sharp. Friends don't sell each other out for a promotion. You could have walked away. You didn't. He fell silent. The board had no choice. My ownership stake gave me full control. Within minutes, they were ousted. But I wasn't done. I pulled 3 sealed envelopes from my folder and handed one each to Ashley, Todd, and our uncle. "These are your final paychecks, severance included. You're out." Ashley's voice broke. "You can't erase us like this." I looked her in the eyes. "You fired me to save yourself. I'm just returning the favor." As I left the boardroom, every eye followed me. At the door, I paused and added, "Oh, and that Bali company retreat next month? Still happening. Just without you." But what they did next changed everything. I thought firing them was the end, but I didn't realize how far they'd go to destroy me. 3 days later, I started getting strange calls. Silent, no one speaking. Then came anonymous emails, threats, fake lawsuits, wild claims of company fraud. I ignored them at first, thinking it was just noise. Then someone broke into my condo. Nothing was taken, but my laptop was open, files accessed, a clear message. I checked the security footage. Someone used my old key card from my IT days. Only 2 people still had access to that system, Ashley and Todd. I knew they were behind it, but I didn't grasp how desperate they'd become. Later, I learned Ashley tried launching her own tech firm using stolen company files, but investors, after background checks, found the scandal and blacklisted her. Todd, meanwhile, begged competitors for jobs, but somehow, every company knew his betrayal. They thought I'd leaked it, but I hadn't said a word. They were crashing hard and blamed me entirely. So, they hatched a final scheme to ruin me completely. It unfolded at the company's annual shareholder meeting, my first as majority owner. Everything was flawless, the presentation, the numbers, soaring profits since I took over. But as I stepped onto the stage, someone yelled from the back, "Mike Williams is a crook. He stole this company." It was Ashley, in front of hundreds of shareholders, board members, and press, waving a thick file. "This proves Mike's holding company used stolen software and fake shells. He doesn't legally own this firm." The room fell silent. All eyes turned to me. One misstep, and I could lose everything. My reputation, my company, all I'd built. The moderator asked, "Mr. Williams, do you have a response?" I walked to the mic, calm and cold, then smiled. "Yes, Ashley, I was hoping you'd show up. I brought something too." I pulled out a folder with recorded calls, emails, and bank transfers showing Ashley bribed a former employee to forge documents. I'd let it happen, planting a fake file labeled "Ownership Vulnerability" weeks earlier. She took the bait. I played a short audio clip, her voice unmistakable. "If we leak this, it'll ruin him. Doesn't matter if it's real, the damage will be done." Gasps filled the room. The moderator stood stunned. A board member whispered, "Oh my God." I turned to Ashley. "You taught me to play dirty. I just mastered it." Security escorted her out as the audience applauded. I addressed them. "This company was built on deceit, betrayal, and politics. From today, it stands for something greater." But just when I thought it was over, a letter arrived at my desk the next morning from someone I hadn't heard from in 15 years. No name on the envelope, just my office address and a gold embossed seal I hadn't seen in a decade. I opened it cautiously. Inside, a handwritten note. "We know who really funded Cynic Global. You're not the only ghost in this story. Let's meet. D." My heart stopped. Only one person signed like that. Daniel Carter, my ex-business partner, who I thought died in a car crash 15 years ago. If he was alive, everything I built wasn't solely mine. Back when I started Cynic, Daniel and I were nobodies, 2 broke tech geeks coding in a storage unit. He was brilliant but reckless, greedy, pushing to sell our code to a shady foreign investor. I refused. Then came the accident. His car went off a bridge, body never found. I moved on, built Sinet alone. Or so I thought. I followed the letter's instructions to an empty warehouse at midnight. He was there, same smirk, same leather jacket, like he hadn't vanished. "Long time, Mike," he said, stepping from the shadows. "I thought you were dead," I replied. He laughed. "Almost, but watching you run the company solo gave me a reason to return." He tossed me a flash drive. "This proves your shell company was funded through an account I created. Legally, I own 49% of Sinet." My stomach churned. "That's impossible. You signed everything over." He grinned. "I forged the signature. Now I want half the profits, half the power, or I leak it all." Bored media investors. It felt like the ground collapsed. I just defeated my enemies, exposed betrayal, rebuilt my name from nothing, and now a ghost from my past wanted half my empire. I stared at him, then smiled. "You didn't return for power. You returned because you're broke." His grin faded. "You wouldn't have waited 15 years if you were thriving. That flash drive is a bluff." He stepped closer, voice low. "Wanna bet?" I handed him a folder. "I knew you were alive. I've been tracking the offshore account you used to fund Sinet. I bought it 6 months ago." His eyes widened. "You used a dead man's account, and I used it to bury you. Legally, you own nothing. You're just a ghost." Security lights flashed on. My private legal team walked in. Daniel backed away. "You set me up." "No," I said. "I finished the story you tried to erase." As he was escorted out, I stood there, breathing deeply. I had no family left, no old friends, but I had peace, priceless. Back at my office, I hung a new frame on the wall. They sacked me, but I controlled everything they worked for. Below it, I added, "And when the ghost returned, I buried him too." Because sometimes, revenge isn't loud, it's permanent.